everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Flashback 64. I'm Gooey, joined as always by McKenna.
Hello.
And we're going back to Mischief Makers, which even though it's just like we just put out the episode, it feels like a long time since we've even been in Mischief Makers mode, even N64 mode. We gotta get back and dive deep on our next game. Actually, this is nice and easy today because we are joined by returning guests, so we can get a lot of the formalities out of the way and get straight to the action. But joining us, we have returning to the show, my brother Michael.
Hello.
Hey, it's good to have you back. I feel like it's been a long time since we've had you on.
Yeah, I've been on some of the like Blast Core crew
of course
game stuff. So
over on our Twitch channel. So everyone go check that out. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff over there. Our episode today, we're doing another manual reading episode, which there's no way we could even do this legally without Nic McConnell.
Oh my God, it's so good to be back. It's so good to be back. Legally, I'm going to give you all the rights to the idea of reading the manuals. If you ever need to, please feel free. It's okay. I relinquish all legal ownership.
True. I mean, it's probably best if the whole world could share in manual reading, because I feel like that's one thing your stream kind of promotes is like, aren't these like an awesome like piece of history, you know?
The more the merrier. Manual labor for everyone.
Well, it's good to have you both back. Like I said, we're back to Mischief Makers. We ranked it over on our Patreon, on our bonus show, as like a pretty good game, but you know, just thinking about it now, how's Mischief Makers in your mind?
Good.
We like it.
Yeah, high on Mischief Makers.
Yeah, it's not our favorite game, but it's in the upper, the upper group for sure.
Goofy, unique little game.
So, I guess Nic, what's your backstory with the game?
Okay, so my backstory with the game, and I promise this won't be a very long story, even though my preamble is already a little bit long. I went on a family trip to Seattle back in the 90s, and because I was a cool high schooler, I wanted to go check out the Nintendo of America headquarters. My parents were able to get a tour of the headquarters, which was real neat. And at the end of it, I got to swing by the company store, which had all sorts of N64 games, as was the fashion at the time, and all at an amazing discount. And I picked up Mischief Makers and Tetrasphere, both for, I remember very clearly, $16 each. Yeah. I took them back, and because, again, I was a very cool teenager, I had brought my N64 on the trip as well and started playing Mischief Makers immediately in the hotel room that we were staying at in Seattle. So Mischief Makers is one of those games that has a real time and place feeling to it. And I thought I remembered it really well, but upon going back and replaying it recently, I realized there is so much more to it than I ever remembered. And I got to say, I'm in love with it. I'm in love with it now, all over again.
That's what do you remember? Because you said you didn't quite remember it, exactly. And I had that too, where I was like, I had it in my mind as like, what type of game was that even? Because it had been so long since I played it. Like, what do you remember about like your initial like reaction to it?
You know, it's funny. My memory of the game, and I always loved the vibes on the vibes scale. I would always rate it a 5 out of 5 because I love the way it feels and looks, and it's just got its own unique thing. But I remembered it being a sort of more spacious, more slow-paced game, a little bit more leisurely. Mm-hmm. Not very action forward was sort of my memory of it. And I think, because that's definitely not where the game goes, if you keep playing it, it becomes quite intense. And I think I probably just played the beginning of the game a bunch and then never made it past that first world, because that first world is a bit slower pace, a bit more spacious in the level design. You know, you're kind of given a chance to understand the mechanics, which are weird and challenging in their own way. But I just remembered that very clearly, and I have no idea how far I made it into the game the first time I played it.
Yeah, I think Yeah, I had this weird memory of like where I thought it was like a mini game collection or something. But I was kind of in our episode. I started to piece. I was like starting to remember like maybe more about like I had just like a brief sort of memory of it, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But then I thought, well, I should just talk to Michael about this because I'm pretty sure we played this together as kids, if I'm not wrong.
we absolutely did.
Okay. I was trying to think of like where it came from and like how it even ended up in our home, you know?
I don't know where it came from, but I get the feeling that maybe I have more of a memory of the game than maybe you did. I just know I've kept this game with me like in my heart for a long time.
Yeah, you've streamed it and stuff, right? I mean,
I have streamed it. I streamed it not too long ago, maybe a few months back or more. I can't pinpoint a time exactly, but it's fresh in my mind as well.
That was actually, I think McKenna said, your first exposure to the game at all was your Shake Shake Channel Point Redemption.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love the Shake Shake.
Well, cool. It's good to have you here. I assume you know what's going down with the manual reading. It's pretty straightforward. So thanks for, kind of hopping on this train and going along for the ride. I don't know if you want to know the back of the box. I know that's not something you normally did, but I did pull that up again.
I would love to hear it because of the fact that the game's box is so expensive by itself. I have not bought the box, so I would love to hear the back of the box personally.
Yeah, that's something worth mentioning. This is like one of the more expensive games, not the ultra expensive N64 games, but it is it's the most expensive that I've obtained like recently for the show. And I considered like for GoldenEye, when we read the manual, I thought about buying the manual, and in the grand scheme of what things cost in the world, the Mischief Makers manual isn't like the most expensive thing, but I was like, I'm not paying $30 or whatever it was for the manual, so we're just reading from a PDF.
It's a little hard. I definitely have put an upper limit on most manual prices that I'm willing to pay when I buy a manual. Usually I just want a bulk, and I'm like, if it's going to cost more than $2 a manual, I'm not doing it. But I did think about Mischief Makers and then stopped for that exact reason. I was like, I can't really bring myself to spend $30 on a manual when the internet has such nice scans all over the place for totally free.
And that's saying a lot, because you have quite the manual dump.
Yeah, I have a dump is the right word. I have a real problem. It's a bad scene.
Well, and I think we alluded to it. We mentioned Michael, you stream Golly Rogers over on Twitch, but Nick, I don't know if we mentioned it this episode, but you stream, and your primary thing you stream is the video game manual Storytime, where you read through the manual. So just for anybody who's listening for the first time, you want to check out both their streams.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Wednesdays, 11:45 in the morning during summer. We read manuals and dive deep into video game esoterica, I guess is what you would call it.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, learning about what was the ghost boy?
Oh, Haunting.
What was that kid?
Haunting starring Poltergeist on the Genesis. That was a ride.
I don't have a set schedule, but when I'm around, it's pretty cool.
Yes, please go follow, subscribe. I'm still bad with the Twitch terms. Go follow them or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, back of the box for Mischief Makers. I will say there's a part of it that's a little hard to read because it's like white text on a light background, but we'll see what happens.
They didn't quite have readability down in this era.
Yeah, put an outline on this or something. Professor Theo has been kidnapped by the Imperial forces of the Evil Empire. Now his robotic personal assistant, Marina Lightyears, must save the day. Marina will get some help from the troops who have remained loyal to King Aster. With their help, she'll grab, shake, and throw her way to the professor. Besides rescuing the professor, Marina will also join the effort to rebel against that nasty, horrible, and evil empire. So grab a controller and help our superheroine shake up the evil empire.
A pretty good back of the box. I'm not sure it tells you a whole lot about the game itself, but I like the back of the box a lot.
Well, here's where we can... It has a couple features, and here's where I'm going to zoom in, because this is where the white text is on the light background. Features new techniques, including... Wait, no. In
defeating?
In defeating. It's like on the professor's mustache. It's like, okay. New techniques in defeating enemies. More than 50 stages in all, with several challenging puzzle stages. Easy play control. Beautiful graphics. And packed full of voice samples. Perfect for action game fans of all ages.
Strong disagree with easy play control. I gotta...
I
don't think I would say that.
If there's one thing that I think this game could do a lot better in is its controls.
I think I took them. I don't know what I took them for granted, because we had kind of a... This episode hasn't come out yet, but I remember in our like initial episode on it, I was just like, yeah, it's fun. I love the C buttons. I love the controls. And then and it was just sort of like we're just chatting about it, and then we have an episode yet to come out where we talk a little bit about it with our pals Brian and Andrew, and right away they're like, yeah, the controls are kind of whatever, and I was like, oh whoa, I didn't even I like felt like an idiot, like I was just playing the game and I didn't even like the boost up is all that I really remember being like really annoying. Otherwise I'm just like all I can remember is walking around shaking things. I don't know.
Some of the aerial movement is a struggle.
I think that's where I had the most trouble with the controls, is whenever there is aerial traversal.
Yeah, I think you're right in retrospect.
One thing I do like about it, though, from a control standpoint, is that it uses the D-pad. Like, how many games, we could probably count on our like one hand, how many N64 games default to the D-pad as the primary movement thing. It's kind of neat. It feels good. I like using that N64 D-pad.
Yeah, the D-pad is tight. I think, yeah, when I think about some of the worst challenges in that, they always like are like the ones where you have to tap buttons really fast, like the running and stuff. So I think because that's like what I associate with as the hardest part, which I think of more as like a mini game, it makes the normal like running around, jumping, grabbing things not seem so bad.
The mini games, it's funny you mention it, because last night I was playing it and I was at the stage where you have to do all the different like Olympic mini games, and you have a ball catching mini game, but you also have the 100-meter dash, the 200-meter dash, and the 400-meter dash. And the 400-meter dash is you just jamming that forward button for like at least a minute and a half, and it is excruciating. And then at the very end of it, my whole game froze, and I am afraid to go back to it because I'm fairly certain I'm gonna have to do it all over again.
So during that mini game segment when I was playing, I remember, I think, because you move fast and boost when you tap the stick. I can't remember what control it was, but there's one that also just like auto boosts your run. And for a while, I got stuck on the dash because I was only doing that, and I didn't realize until later you had to tap to actually go faster. Yeah,
it and it like makes the C button is slower than using the D-pad, and I sort of like from like I can see how that could be interesting from like a game design perspective, maybe, where it's like, yeah, you can hit this button for a quick boost, but you want to master the tapping if you want to get a really good boost. But it doesn't. The only time it really comes up is like the 100-meter dash or like the tricycle level that you were
tricycle.
McKenna's just
nightmare.
I will say about the controls is just a quick thing, and not to make this a whole episode about the controls, but I think one thing that I really came to appreciate on this recent playthrough again was that The controls are weird and they are quirky, and the back of the box is lying. They're not easy, but they do let you do a lot of stuff, and they're extremely versatile once you do get it down. And you can do lots of the different puzzles, lots of the different platforming, and get into a groove in a way that opens up the gameplay in ways that I think is really kind of ahead of its time. The more I played of it the last couple of days, the more I realized just how ahead of its time this game actually feels. It feels modern in a way that I didn't really expect it to.
Yeah, I would agree with that big time. I think you said it feel like, or who it was you who said like, oh, this could be like an indie game now. It kind of had that feeling.
Yeah.
To me, this game, whenever I think of like underrated Nintendo 64 games, this is like the first one that always comes up. This is one of the games that I wish Nintendo would put their eyes on again.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
If this could get this on NSO, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how they'd handle the controls on NSO. Now that I've seen what they did with GoldenEye, my beautiful baby GoldenEye on NSO, I don't know how it would work on the Joy-Cons. I'm a little scared.
They just need to send. They should like legally, if you sign up for the service, they should have to send you that the N64 controller connection, because that's really for a lot of games. Like the only way to make it work.
Very underrated. IGN 64 back when it came out rated it a 6.2. I think Matt Casamassina rated it 6.2. So we are here today. I am here today to correct the record about this.
What were they thinking?
It's actually good. What were they thinking? They weren't. That's the problem.
Do you want to jump into the manual itself?
Sure.
I don't know your strategy, but I saw there is a lot of. We actually stopped reading it initially. We sometimes like to read them, like when we're starting a game. But in this one, like it I know it started with like the opening cutscene at some point was in there, and I was like, all right, well, let's just play the game.
Yeah, it just does that. In terms of strategy, I don't know, anything works. We can go through and just hit up each point, but whatever you think works, I'm happy to do. We'll just enjoy the lots and lots of story.
All right, yeah. Let's just we'll switch over. We'll hand the reins to you. We'll treat it like we're on one of your streams, and we'll interrupt, be peanut gallery type thing.
I love it. All right, that sounds real good. I want to call out just to anybody listening. They should go ahead. If you're listening, go ahead and take a look at the manual online. Don't spend $30 on it, but go look it up for free. It is gorgeous. One thing about this game, again, is that the art is just spectacular. The design of the characters is so cool. It's so unique, and it is on full display. The Nintendo 64 manuals are some of the most colorful ones out there, and this one is absolutely fantastic. So go take a look at it and learn how to hold your N64 controller and connect it to the machine itself. Always very helpful. It takes you to page 5 to get there, but on page 6 we get to be introduced to the main characters. So, and yeah, feel free anytime you have something to say, please jump in. We have the Ultra Intergalactic Cybot G Marina Light Years. I personally always like it when someone creates a robot and gives them a first and last name. I think that's important. Like there's like a family lineage there, the Lightyears family. So Marina Lightyears, she's a high-powered robot who is an assistant to Professor Theo. Usually she's busy with her daily tasks, but when Theo's in trouble, she can become a powerful heroine, which tells me that this has happened multiple times. Like this is just another lighthouse in the multiverse of Professor Theo getting into trouble.
I mean, we kind of joked about it in our episode, but like even in the game itself, you know, every chapter, like especially as it goes on, I feel like they less and less they're just like feel the need to justify it. They're just like, yeah, the professor, he gets kidnapped again.
It's pretty cool. They do really do away with a lot of that concern pretty quickly, and they're like, yeah, here you go, just enjoy. Then you get the adventurer, Professor Theo. He is the adventurer. Yeah, the adventurer is one way to put it. I don't know.
I've not seen him do much adventuring. I'm going to be honest.
He mainly sits in that house and gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
He's a fiery old man. He traveled to Clancer from Earth upon learning of the crisis that they were in. While he is a genius in the field of robotics, he's not very well known outside of the scientific community. While he can't seem to convince anyone of it, he claims to be the main character in this game.
Oh, that's why he's the adventurer.
That's why he wrote the manual.
I am interested here where they're just like, he goes to Clancer upon hearing the crisis that they were in. It's like, I almost feel like we need to hear about the crisis before this, but okay.
I also, if he went there for the crisis, why is he sitting around his house and not doing anything about it?
Yeah,
he just wanted to check it out. He wasn't going to do anything.
He wanted a front row seat.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's like making his observations first. You know, you don't want to.
Sure.
Doesn't want to jump in.
Yeah, rush to conclusions. No.
The scientific method. He's a true science genius, and he's doing things the right way. And we appreciate that about Dr. Theo. Dr. Theo is also a name that I just cannot wrap my head around for some reason. Dr. Theo is just so casual to me.
Not light years, though, right? They're not.
No, not Lightyear.
I guess that'd be weird if they were. Yeah. Anyway.
No relation. There's also the manual talks a lot about Clancer and has, to your point, done absolutely no work to introduce it as a concept.
Yeah.
You just have to accept that it exists.
And
you're in their world now.
And also that it just says there's also a good Clancer, and it's like, wait a minute.
There are bad ones.
There's a good Clancer. That seems kind of rude. I've played that game. There's plenty of nice guys on that planet.
There are, yeah.
This is one thing about the game that I do not understand is which ones are bad and which ones are good. You're able to kill all of them. But sometimes they'll just be like, hey, this is a hotel. Come and enjoy our hotel. And other times they got a machine gun and there's no telling them apart. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, there's like not a character that it won't let you grab and throw. It's like...
You're grabbing and throwing like baby Clancers and their ghosts come out. Marina, classic Marina Light Years move. We get the good Clancer though, the one, and his name is Terran. He's one of the few good Clancers left.
Oh, left.
And he's ready to... He left after Marina's had her way, I
think. Marina's wiped through all of them.
The day Marina arrived on Clancer. He's one of the few good Clancers left, and he's ready to help Marina. His specialties are the triple jump, triple punch, and the deadly final blow. He will step forward to carry on the battle should Marina get hurt. Now,
foreshadowing.
There's some foreshadowing to a part that I think must happen really late in the game because I'm about 4 worlds in and I have not met this guy.
Yeah. He has a whole... Sorry, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, it's like towards the end of the game and it's only for like... Is it one level or...
It's a few.
I think you meet him fairly early in the game, and then he doesn't really come back until towards the end of the game. And it's only for like a level or something.
It does have a unique playstyle, which is kind of fun. And he does have a lot of like lore, right? Because like we were watching the end, like you can get more of the gold gems to see more of the ending, and there's a lot to do with him and who his real identity is or something like that, or I can't remember. It really didn't make a lot of sense, but I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention to the lore of Mischief Makers.
You have to spend at least 300 hours following the lore of Mischief Makers to really appreciate what's going on.
Exactly.
I will say with this game, and I kind of mentioned it earlier in terms of the feeling of modernity that I've enjoyed in it, is I know that he comes in and you can play as him for a couple of levels, and they've got all these mechanics and things for you to be able to do when you're playing as Terran. The whole game is kind of full of that sort of stuff in some capacity though, right? There's like a level where you have to do the puzzle with the tricycles, right? Get the tricycles in there and then the bouncy guys into their box. There's the level where you're on the rocket and you have to go back and forth. So the game is constantly throwing new stuff at you and then just like discarding it because they don't want it to overstay its welcome. Some of the levels are super brief. It's really fun because you never quite know what you're going to get, including a good Clancer named Terran out of nowhere for it sounds
like I do really appreciate like how it takes the shake mechanic and just like runs with it, using different, just playing around with it, you know.
Yeah, they're like,
so cool.
What can you shake, and what would happen if you shake it? A pot? Sure.
Oh my god!
Why not?
Pot. I hate using the pot, the clan pot. I hate using the pot. I hate it so much.
You had to learn how to combine things with it. I don't know. I never understood it fully.
Yeah,
it's this like unbelievably deep mechanic that they just introduced in like 3 sentences, and they're like, "Go for it, dude! Like, enjoy. Like, combine these flowers to get a ninja star, and then if you combine the ninja star,
degree in alchemy now."
Yeah, we definitely had to like go back and like look up how to make things.
Wasn't there one of the like coins that you could get with you had to use the clan pot or something?
Yeah, there's a few like that. I want to mention it again, even though I mentioned it on the episode. But yeah, there's one where you find it. Actually, you have to get the gems and combine them to make a gold gem. That's a good one with the pot. But an even better one that I had mentioned was there's one where you just have to get the pot and it's filled with Clancers already. And you have to shake it, and they make like a bigger Clancer with the jetpack that you can fly around on.
Oh no!
Just a pot filled with guys. I don't know.
Hell of a game. It really is.
Did they all become one person? Like what happened to all their souls?
Yeah. What does the clan pot do?
He's doing like color out of space stuff in there.
Oh no. There's been some monstrosities have been made, yeah. Some nasty creatures.
We don't talk about those, you know?
This is like what happens inside of a Pokeball. I don't want to know. It's too dark to imagine. I don't want to think about it. Maybe Professor Theo could tell us, but I don't think he will, based on the way he behaves throughout this game. I don't think he's going to give us any answers.
He's too busy adventuring.
Main character.
You got those good guys, which is exciting, and then you also get what I think is a wonderful design for a bad guy is an Empire Army Commander, just one of them, an Empire Army Commander, Midgen Senior.
Yes.
Midgen Senior. I don't know if it's Midgen, but he is a cool lizard-looking guy. You fight him and his stupid son, and you have to throw his son's big punches back at him. Which took me way longer than I'd like to admit to figure out how to do that fight. But you fight him. He's a ruthless man. He's a ruthless man who controls his son, Midgen Jr. He has his son carry out his physical attacks. He's a magician, but truth be known, he's not very powerful.
What?
Take that.
What you said about, the figuring, I feel like every major boss in this game could be said the same. It takes a while to figure out exactly how to combat them.
Some of them I've gotten absurdly good at only because I went back and was trying to get the gold gem, which requires you to beat them all without getting hit at all. And
oh god.
I have not been able to do that with any of them, but most, like a good chunk of them now I can pretty easily take out. So I don't know, even though I didn't overcome the challenge, I feel like the game has trained me to be better at it. Maybe, I don't know.
Sure.
Getting to this boss was for me the big realization that it wasn't the game I remembered from the 90s. Mm-hmm. This boss was the first place where I hit not in a bad way, but a difficulty spike that really made me rethink how I needed to play the game.
Yeah.
Because, prior to that, it was still relatively breezy, and then all of a sudden you're blocking 6 or 7 punches in a row, coming from the side, coming from the top. He's faking you out. It's a really interesting take on boss battles that this game has. I think it's kind of cool, kind of scary. Then each time you fight one.
It's almost like when you fight them, even though the mechanics are still grabbing and shaking sometimes, like it does make it feel like it is a different game for those levels. Where you're like, oh, like like the other levels, even when there's like combat, I don't really feel like I'm playing like a combat oriented game necessarily, but here all of a sudden I'm like, you know,
you're like in a fight.
You're parrying and dodging and stuff, you know. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, there's some precision in these ones.
Even compared to like the mini bosses.
Yeah, because the mini bosses will have like one, it's like grab it, throw it type thing. Yeah.
I feel bad about a lot of the mini bosses because sometimes it's just animals and you're kind of tossing them against walls and like the floor. That doesn't feel right.
There's like one in the snow where it's basically just a dog, and I just was like grabbing the dog by the head and throwing it on the ground like 12 or 13 times.
Well, there's also one where it's like a frog and he shoots his tongue out at you and you grab it and you start like somersaulting him around.
Oh. Yeah, the mini bosses are just attacking wildlife. Marina.
So, yeah, well, we start to wonder who's the real villain here. This is a game about. It's a game about that.
Lends credence to our next guys here because weren't they like imagining Marina as the villain?
That's right. These guys are imagining Marina as the villain, although the way that they behave doesn't make me feel like they're the good guys. They all seem pretty aggressive. You have an Empire Air Force general, Mirko. He's very good at attacking his enemies with his golden spear. He and his Phoenix, Y, are well respected by the Empire's army. We also have, in the second spot, even though I think he's the first boss that you fight against, an Empire military general, Lunar, who says his name over and over and over again a lot during the fight, which is exciting to me. He's one of the 3 key officers of the Empire. He rides Cerebus. I keep want to say Cerberus. Cerebus Alpha, I don't know, and attacks his enemies with both a gun and missiles. And then you also have an Empire Army General Terrace. He's strong as a gorilla and quite fearsome when he's riding on his Sasquatch Beta. Perhaps it is because of his brute strength that he can respect a strong enemy.
I started laughing at the bottom part here. I don't want to jump past these guys, but I was like, wait a minute. This would have been good.
Who are the Clancers? Yeah. It's who are the Clancers, and then the very next page just says story, and it's like, okay,
yeah, you know, much like the other guy, you know, these guys, their boss battles are just tough to figure out, but I always really liked these guys. I always thought they were really cool.
The designs are so awesome.
Yeah.
They're really cool. I love the way that they're introduced in the game too. They're like watching that presentation of Marina doing her idol animation, and they're like, "We have to kill her," and they start going kind of nuts. It's great. I just love the presentation.
They had the craziest post game gold gem lore of all. I don't know if either of you recall this. Michael, did you ever see that stuff?
I guess it depends on what you're talking about. So,
like, the more gold gems you collect, you get more of the ending.
Right. Yeah. I never got all the gold gems, so I don't know the exact, like, true ending.
Well, I'll just say as far as I can remember it, I can't really explain why or what their deal is. And then you should go check this out because it's crazy. But after the credits, there's, like, this scene with all these guys. It's like the last scene in the game, and it turns out they were all humans at one point, and they transform back into human guys.
Do they live on Clancer? Planet Clancer? Like when they're humans?
This is more than I don't know. I was very confused. Did you pick it up? What their deal was?
No, they were like, "Oh, I forgot I was even human." I'm like, all right.
That's wild.
Yeah. And so there's like artwork in the game of them as like humans. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I forgot. I just didn't remember. I guess we were just humans at one point. That's amazing. I love it. I love the lore, the amount of lore. This game is so full of so much stuff. Yeah, we get the Clancers. Now we get to find out who the Clancers are. And this puts Marina, I think, in an even worse light than we had previously put her in. The Clancers are mysterious residents who live on Planet Clancer. Everything on this planet begins with the word clan. For example, a ball would be a clan ball, and a coil is a clan coil. They meant no harm when they kidnapped Professor Theo. Normally, they live their lives quite peacefully and are very lovable creatures.
Oh,
so kill them. So go out there and kill them.
Okay.
Why did they kidnap the professor?
I do. That's what jumped out to me. It said they meant no harm when they kidnapped the professor. What did they mean for then?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Were they trying to?
Was this when they had him as the Olympics grand prize?
That was one of the times. Every world they kidnapped him for a different reason.
If you win the grand prize in the Olympics, aren't they just like, you can take him? Like, nobody actually wants the prize. We just like competing.
He is the reward. Yeah.
God, what a thing. This is great. I want to know now why the Clancers are. Why is any of this happening? I'm more confused. The more I read, the more I'm confused.
I hope the manual explains it.
Well, we might learn something in the story section, which is helpfully coming up 10 pages into the manual. We can get into that if y'all want.
Yes.
Marina and Professor Theo have finally arrived on Planet Clancer. The planet has been sending an SOS signal. That might be wise. So it might not be too safe to be here. Therefore, Marina has decided to go out and scout out the planet and get more familiar with the area. It might not be too safe to be here. I don't know. Oh, yeah. And then we get some quotes. Does anybody want to do the quote section of the...
Okay, Michael, I feel like you would do you've done great scientists and professors for our streams before.
All right. So just the blue quotes here. I'm bored.
The professor who was left in the spaceship is very bored. He was trying to find something to kill the time when suddenly...
I don't think I can make an accurate ding-dong sound.
Give it your all.
Let's hear your best.
Ding dong.
Doorbell rings.
I like that was a good doorbell. I like that it says parenthetically next to the words ding dong, it says doorbell rings.
Just in case you weren't sure.
Yeah.
just in case you didn't understand the context. Something enters the professor's room. The professor thought that these strange creatures were the welcoming wagon.
What the heck?
A large group of Clancers suddenly rushed into the room and started going totally wild. The professor was quite confused, and the next thing he knew, he'd been kidnapped. Marina, who's been out scouting, hears a familiar voice.
Marina! Help me! Professor!
I always like that they rate it as
that was good.
That was really good.
That's what he sounds like every time.
That was so good. That was a really good Professor Theo.
Yeah, I've been practicing. Thank you.
And just in case there's Mischief Makers too.
Yeah.
That's the real reason.
Nintendo, I'm ready. Just put me in there.
Bring it back. Marina hurried to where the voice was coming from and got there in time to see the professor being kidnapped by the group of Clancers. Who are these creatures? Why would they want to kidnap the professor? And so begins Marina's adventure. Right. If she had read the beginning parts of the manual, she'd know a little bit about the Clancers.
But still, I feel like we're still, teased here,
We're still very teased here. And I gotta say, I actually think this manual is not going to give us a lot of answers about the deets. It is 31 pages long. There are 31 pages here. And we're going to leave with more questions than answers is my gut feeling.
I still feel like we don't know enough about Planet Clancer. What's like the political climate around this place? Like what?
Yeah,
what kind of planet is this?
Yeah, what's the Civil War all about? Yeah.
It seems not too safe. I will admit, it doesn't seem like a super safe place to be right now.
Yeah. It sounds like it's not safe, and there's a few good Clancers.
There's like grifting. I like the grifter Clancers. There's like, you go to the snow section and there's the area that's supposed to be just a hotel for rich people, and it's just a bunch of places, and all the people staying at the hotel, they're like, it's snowing and there's no walls or doors to this hotel. I'm gonna get my money back. So there's grifting Clancers. They're just like us, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that's what, some of the best sci-fi stories turn a mirror to society,
It's a reflection on the state of humanity. We've always said that about Mischief Makers, and I think we're seeing it now.
IGN did not understand that,
They didn't. Video game criticism just wasn't there quite yet in 1997.
They were talking about play control.
The review is pretty funny because they're like, this game has fantastic graphics. There's MIP mapping. There's transparencies. They just go through like a list of the things the N64 was able to do. It's kind of a cool. It's a good review. I would suggest checking it out.
I'm sure it actually is. I don't mean to disparage the author of the review.
It's wrong.
Okay.
I'll disparage it. The review's wrong.
We can all grow,
That's true. We gotta go get Matt Casamassina to do another a re-review, atone for previous sins.
Just try it again, please.
Yeah, Matt, please just come back. I don't know what you're doing these days, but please come back and review this game again. You get in the manual lots of stuff that I don't know I'm going to read, because a lot of it's extraordinarily dry. But you do get, again, wonderful images, wonderful art. It tells you the basics are grab, shake, and throw, which is pretty important. If you see something suspicious, grab it with the B button. That's how I live my life in general. After you've grabbed it, press downward on the control pad twice to shake it. And it puts shake in quotes. I'm not sure why. Then, with the control pad, pick a direction and throw it, again in quotes, with the B button. And that is essentially how you do it. I will draw your attention to the schematics on page 12.
To zoom in on these.
The schematics on page 12 for the controller fly directly in the face of the promise on the back of the box that this is a game for every age with easy controls, because there's so much here.
The control pad alone has like a giant list.
It's unbelievable. I'm looking at this and I'm like, they would take an hour to just read what the control panel does, or the control pad.
I get though. One thing I do like is that, they tell you, like press down on the pad twice to shake it. But I do like the C buttons there kind of do offer, like, you can just hit C down and it'll shake it because the boost, And so I feel like the controls, like, you could not fully understand them, but if you start messing around with like boosting with the C button, there's like harder challenges you can't do, but like in the average level you can like get a little bit extra just boosting that way.
And this is actually a really good point, and something that makes me appreciate manuals, and something that I will call out here is I didn't read the manual before playing. I saved that for here. And I just played in the game. And the game doesn't, to my recollection, tell you about any of those extra control mechanisms. It just tells you the basics down on the D-pad, all that sort of stuff. Having the manual come in here and lay all of this out in a way that doesn't get in the way the game flows, no big long tutorial, all that kind of stuff, is really cool, actually. So I like that they've got all these things in there. I had no idea you could use the C button.
Yeah, it, like I said, it doesn't give you like as much of a boost, but it's like kind of a good, cheat. I guess you could say, not cheat, but makes it simpler.
A little accessibility.
Yeah.
It's funny, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is kind of off topic, but I noticed here, like, there's a lot of great art for this game and in this manual, but on just 11 and 12 here, we have the same picture of Marina, and it was the one that was just used before. And I'm thinking, like, at least with GoldenEye, we got a lot of different photo shoots of Pierce Brosnan. So I'm a little disappointed here that we're seeing the same Marina, Whereas I want one of her pointing a gun at us, one of her in flames. Shaking, yeah.
Marina is wonderful, but she's no Pierce, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
So It's hard. It's hard to meet those standards, I think. I will say that I appreciate on this extremely detailed controller functions page, directly underneath it, it says it's possible to do all kinds of actions just by combining other buttons. For more details, please read the section on advanced control.
Whoa.
This is not
That's
advanced.
on page 26. These are the basics, just the basics. It's a one-player game, it tells you. So, anyway, it just goes through so much. And in the spirit of this game, giving you everything you could possibly ever want to know about it, the manual gives you the flow of the game from the title screen, the stage select screen, the demo screen, starting the adventure. Like, start the game and you'll see the stage select screen. You can then choose to either replay a completed stage or advance to the next stage. You can't skip a stage that hasn't been completed. Press left or right on the control pad to move from stage to stage. It just goes like that for so long.
It's very generous,
I love it.
I think, to explain all of that.
It's like I feel like I need to read this manual for about 3 days, like cram, before I start playing the game.
There's one thing in this, it's like on page 16, where they're explaining, how to clear the stages. But one thing I gotta point out is they shout out Miss Hint down here, who, gives you even more information. And this blue text here that says, if you don't listen to my hint, you'll lose every time. So I like that threat.
Well, Miss Hint, what are you gonna do?
Miss Hint also charges you every time. She charges you 10 red gems, no matter what.
Even if you've heard it before.
To lose. Yeah,
it seems so cruel. There's a price to learn in this game.
We always paid. We love Miss Hint.
Yeah, I feel like usually it was just like, oh, just shake the thing. Remember, you can shake stuff.
Don't forget to shake, is usually.
I wonder what the Clancers think about Miss Hint.
Yeah, like what's her deal? Because she's not a Clancer, she's like a clan ball.
Well, everything in this on this planet has like faces on it, So
are they like the same type of thing? How should I feel when I'm blowing up those like walls?
Are there living people inside of those walls?
I figured they're the souls of Clancers who died
in the war.
In the war.
Wait, is Marina double killing them?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Where did they go after that?
That's even more disturbing. They're living in houses made out of them.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I know. Miss Hint, I don't know what they think of Miss Hint. She's got like her own Patreon thing going, I guess.
Side hustle.
Side hustle.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it.
She's the only one who's figured out how to monetize the arrival of Marina.
Monetize the rot. That's,
Yeah, that's right. You get a lot more information, how to control Marina, shaking, grabbing, more.
This is not even advanced controls.
Oh no, these are the basics. This is the basics. Shake and something good will happen. And then it gives you a couple of examples about shaking the clan ball, jumping with the A button. You can jump high or low depending on how you adjust the A button. I don't quite know what that means. Adjusting the A button. Teaches you about dashing. It teaches you about all sorts of stuff. And then it gives you a little bit of a spoiler for the game by telling you how to control Terran. Even though you haven't really... Were you told earlier that you could control Terran? I don't remember.
No, not really. Like it's later on. There's like a story moment where Marina is like incapacitated and you have to play as him to like help go get... I forgot. You have to like basically help her, save her.
In like early in the game, Terran is just like another just random Clancer you meet that is really, I feel like is pretty easy to forget about from early game, but then it's the controlling him is like a surprise.
He's kind of cool.
It's really bugging me that I'm getting his lore here just because it's bugging me that I can't remember. So he is the alleged older brother of Ondine, who he originally knew as Celeste, and is the mighty warrior known as Blockman. So I don't know if any of those words mean anything to you.
Well, they mean everything to me. I just don't know how to place them.
He's
the Blockman.
Alleged.
Yeah. So and Undyne,
right.
Undyne is his sister Celeste, who is she is a secret. I think it's a secret. She's the queen of Planet Clancer, the only daughter of King Aster, and the alleged younger sister of Terran. So I think that might be the twist, is their royalty or something. Is that?
I remember his younger sister from playing the game. I don't remember if the royalty thing is like a gold after story thing or not.
I think that's in there, which is, like I said, it's bad. I can't remember this exactly, but yeah.
Terran can't grab things the way Marina can, but he can attack his enemies with a series of punches. I like that it's just back to basics. It's like back to video game basics, guys. You can just punch with this guy. Don't worry about it.
That does make me question something. This planet seems very reliant on people's capability of shaking things. So Terran not being able to shake something brings up the question, is that like a Terran thing, or like most Clancers, can they not make use of the technologies that this world has made?
Terran's just like a fail son. He just can't do anything right.
Yeah.
A royal fail son. I think he's cool though, because he has a cool sideways hat and bleached tips.
He's very 90s looking. Yeah. He's a
cool moment. 90s guy. He's timeless as far as I'm concerned. It tells you about all the items that you can grab in there. The clan pot, which again I hate. The handy pot will store items for you, is one way to put it. When they introduced the clan pot to me in the game, I thought that it was going to be like a way for me to continually like maintain a supply of things. That it was going to be like, oh, I've got this pot and I can just take things out of it whenever I need to. But it's like, no, you're going to have to carry this thing. And if you want to get like a bomb from inside of it over through a different thing, you have to throw the whole pot over. No, boy, I don't like it. I don't like it.
You can collect children with it. Like.
Yes. Yeah. Collect children. Hopefully, yeah. There's a lot of questionable stuff going on in Clancer here.
You can harbor the souls of ghosts.
Oh my, yeah. What can't go in there?
There's so much here. But in terms of the manual, I'm gonna probably leave it at that, because the rest of it is so in depth. I would suggest anybody listening pick up a copy, take it on their next vacation. It will keep them active for the entire trip, because there's 31 pages of deep mechanical knowledge to be gained from this one. I am not seeing, however, any mention of the Nintendo seal of quality within this manual.
That could be a big scoop.
So there we go. Nintendo didn't think it was good.
They didn't endorse it. Wow. Yeah, the whole end of this is all that quote unquote advanced controls. So.
So you can really learn how to play this game if you really get into high level play. I wonder, there's a part of me that wonders whether they had speed running in mind with some of this stuff when they made the game.
They had to have, right? Because they grade your time.
Yeah.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah.
My thought of it was that it was very reminiscent of Doom, just because Doom gives you a par, and then there's also an element of wanting to collect. It'll tell you the percentage. Here you just got to find the gold gem, but it has that both things at play, where you can play the level to find the secrets, or you can play it to beat it as fast as you can.
I will say something I'm noticing in the manual here. On each page of the advanced controls, there's like a little blue blurb at the top that has some character information.
Oh, there's more character stuff.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that. I just want to make sure that I'm not.
Celeste.
I couldn't.
Oh, Celeste, yeah.
Oh my God.
So yeah, sorry, we're spoiling the game. You're not even supposed to know all that stuff about Celeste, but.
But yeah.
Celeste went alone to tend to the flowers and was attacked by the worm Clancer. She was then rescued by Marina. They're really getting out ahead of themselves here.
That's just something that you do in the game.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the mini bosses. They do just spoil the events of the game.
The game is actually an historical documentary of the Clancer Wars. So it's all already happened, and you're just replaying them. That's right. The odd pair, Doom Daddy and Jolly Boy.
I like that they both have pompadours, even like the young the like child.
They're so cool. Doom Daddy and Jolly Boy. The father has the worst of luck and is doomed to be miserable in every situation.
Oh no!
He and his son visit Clan Ball Land together. Oh, I'm so glad you called this out. I missed all of these character things.
What caught my eyes was the Doom Daddy and Jolly Boy. I was like, wait, what is this?
What's cool too about Doom Daddy is if you hear the name Doom Daddy, you assume that he's going to be like the daddy of Doom, like he's going to bring the doom, but instead he's just doomed to be sad all the time.
That's so tragic.
It's so sad. Then you get the Klance Walker, the walking attack robot developed by the Empire's army. This missile shooting robot is driven by Clancers. We know that. You get a flying air Clancer with a booster pack on his back. This booster pack was inspired by an old movie, and his specialty is a dive bomb body slam. Doesn't say what movie.
Yeah, what old movies does? Okay, what does old movies does the Planet Clancer have too? If it's referring to like an actual movie, which one are they talking about?
They only have the Rocketeer on Planet Clancer.
I was thinking Thunderball.
Yeah,
the James Bond.
Okay.
Or there would be called Clan Ball, actually. Yeah. They're pretty loose with what they decide is clan something. Like sometimes they're like clan this, and then other times they're like, yeah, it's a rocket pack. Why is it not a clan rocket or something?
Right. Like this one's just a machine gun. It's normal. And then you get Marzin. This guy calls himself Marzin 64, and he throws Kid Clancer.
Kid Clancer. There's a level I hate that's called 7 Clancer Kids. Yes. And it's just this boss rush. And I don't blame him for throwing Kid Clancer.
Well, when there's like collision on each Clancer, right? So if you're like running and trying to dash through Clancers, you'll slow down. And it makes you want to throw all of them into any sort of perilous situation you can possibly throw them into. Just get rid of these awful Clancer kids.
There's some very specific like gold gems you have to get where it's like there's a point if you mess something up, like you can't get it and you have to start the level over. And sometimes it'll be like there's one where it's like you need one Clancer person, but you have to like grab them before like a bomb blows them up or something, and it just makes you like so annoyed with them because sometimes you're trying to jump over to one to grab the other and they get in your way and they blow themselves up or something and you're like, no, I need you alive. It's very frustrating.
I don't know about the Clancers.
I still can't tell if they're good or not. I'm not sure.
Well, the only way to find out is to play the game for about 100 hours, get all the gold gems, and then immerse yourself in Mischief Makers lore for another 100 hours. And then I think the answers will become clear to us.
Yeah,
I hope.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There, you could really probably there's a lot. It's a fertile ground for lore, I think.
I love this game. All joking aside, I love this game.
Oh, yeah.
And this manual is a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
There's so much in there. They had so much love for everything that they were doing. It's weird. It's crazy. It's a little bit hard to parse, and I love it. I love how unique it is. I love it when any game like does something out of the box like this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's for everything we've covered so far. I think this kind of stands on its own. Like it compares the least to any other game that we've played, which is awesome.
Yeah, and like Nick said before, the art style, I don't know, I just love the character like art in this game. It's it's probably some of my favorite from the Nintendo 64.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't even be mad that they've reused the same ones in the manual here. It's all right.
It's good enough. I will say the one level of the game that I cannot abide is the motion sickness level. I forget what it's called, but there's a level where you go up a kind of long, straight tube, and the screen is going back and forth and zooming in and zooming out. And it turns out I'm 40, and my inner ear had a real hard time with that one, and I had to set the controller down for a solid 30 or 40 minutes after I played that level, and just step foot on solid ground, touch grass, as it were.
At least there's the level name is like a content warning in a way.
Yeah, it's a content warning, but you're not skipping this one.
Thank you, Nick, for taking us through that again. I appreciate you kind of coming on here and doing some labor for us.
It's a manual labor. It's so fun. It's so fun, and doing it with you guys is so much fun. Thank you.
Yeah, we mentioned your stream, but in general, anything you want to promote or plug?
Sure, I'm not good at doing this. I'll try. So I'm available on Blue Sky. Blue Sky. What is it? McConnell. McConnell.bsky.social. That's me. That's the one. That's where I do most of my hanging out with everybody and posting about games. And I do video game manual story time, where we read things like these on stream every week. Is what I'm trying for. 11:45 Pacific on Wednesday mornings during the summer, and help me feed my my bad video game manual addiction and my manual dump that I have.
You might even get to be in a giveaway or something like that. Like
we had a giveaway yesterday, and I didn't know how I was going to do a giveaway, and it somehow worked. So I think the lesson that I took from that was never prepare and just go for it.
I learned what year E Honda was born, so that was very helpful.
1960.
Well, sweet. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Michael. What do you got?
Yeah, we talked about, with my Twitch, the Golly Rogers. I'm also on Blue Sky at gollyrogers.bluesky.social. I don't have anything current to really plug, but if you did want to see any of that Mischief Makers playthrough I do have a YouTube, Golly Rogers Tavern, where I upload all the VODs that I do. So it's all categorized by the series that I play, so you can watch it there.
Hell yeah! And you've got some great videos about some of your streams and stuff like that.
Yeah, on my Golly Rogers YouTube channel. It's separate from my VODs one. I have some edited videos there. Haven't uploaded in a while. I have a lot on my plate. I have ADHD, so I'm jumping around to different things.
Yeah. No, totally. But still, if you haven't seen those either channel, highly recommend. McKenna, do you have any final thoughts on our Mischief Makers experience? I think we're kind of done with the game for now. For doing episodes about it, so.
Maybe just I wanted to mention Michael, you played the demo of Double Shake.
I did play the demo of Double Shake, which is a very it's inspired by Mischief Makers, Clona, Tomba. Honestly, it's like if Mischief Makers had controls that felt really good. It's got a demo out. I've been really enjoying that game. I highly recommend it if you enjoy Mischief Makers.
I know what I'm downloading. I didn't know about this. I'm going to be downloading that right away after this.
I love now there's a retro inspired game for almost any game of the era, even these deep cuts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to all the devs.
We'll have to do some bonus eps.
Yeah, for sure. Do we want to promote anything?
We've been streaming.
We just added emotes to our Twitch.
Yeah, Flashback 64 Pod
on Twitch. Yeah, cool. Yeah, go check that out. And we're on Blue Sky. We're a podcast, so listen to the podcast. And all our VODs and stuff are on YouTube as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
As always, we want to give a special thanks to our Millennium Star tier backers on Patreon. So thank you to Infection Form, Jeremy Aber, Kiefer, Nico Sylvian, Paul, and Underline V. You can find more at patreon.com/flashback64.